Welcome back to another video. As always, we are going to judge how big gaming companies, I don't even know what to call GameSpot, like a video game blogging channel, they cover video games, well, whatever. You know what we're doing today. We're going to look over their preview of Saints Row. So the title of the video is Saints Row Preview. It looks okay. So let's check it out. Sending out a lot of love to you, ladies and gentlemen, and let's hop into this reaction video.
I'm David, reading for writer Jordan Rameh.
I haven't played it myself. Of course, I don't think any of us have, so there's not much I'm going to be able to say, but I'll see what he says.
All I could really think while I was watching
David,
the 40-minute long gameplay breakdown for Saints Row was, this looks okay. It definitely doesn't seem like a bad game. It actually seems to be perfectly sound in terms of gameplay. But nothing about Saints Row looks all that interesting. Granted, I am basing this opinion only on what I saw because I didn't actually get the chance to play the game during
we didn't play it either. He watched the gameplay. Okay, well, I've watched the gameplay, so
the preview. Okay. So take this with a grain of salt. Saints Row could actually
taking it with a grain of salt, my boy.
Feel a lot better than it looks, but right now, it looks mediocre. As I watched developer Volition dissect its latest open-world action-adventure title, the gameplay all seemed uninspiringly familiar for the franchise. I've seen Volition make this game before. 2022 Saints Row looks a whole lot like 2011 Saints Row the Third, but prettier. The brand new setting and various new characters at least hint at the potential exploration of intriguingly fresh stories. But on first glance anyway, the Southwest United States inspired Santo Ileso seems to be unfortunately underutilized. In Saints Row, you play as the former member of a private military corporation organization called Marshall Defense Industries. You're now rooming with talented driver Nina, DJ Kevin, and wannabe business entrepreneur Eli. Like you, Nina and Kevin are former gang members. Nina used to ride with the car-obsessed and fitness-oriented Los Panteros, while Kevin fought alongside the nightlife-loving and violently anarchist group known as the Idols. Eli, meanwhile, is just a smart guy trying to use his business sense to turn a profit in the city.
You are a different kind of cat, Eli.
What can I say? The world is full of uninteresting people, and I'm not going to be one of them.
Tired of pulling
He said the world is full of uninteresting people, and I'm not going to be one of them.
off small-time robberies and crimes to pay rent, the four decide to claim power for themselves and form a fourth Santo Ileso gang, the Saints. This latest Saints Row is a reboot of the franchise. The series hasn't seen the release of a new mainline entry since 2013 Saints Row 4. While Saints Row started out as an open world game akin to Grand Theft Auto 3, each subsequent entry got goofier and weirder, culminating.
That's kind of what I liked about Saints Row, though. Aside, like, you know, that set it apart from GTA is how wacky it got. I'm thinking like one of them, I can't remember, was Saints Row 4. I think you were like, well, is there anyone that has not played Saints Row 4? If you don't, honestly, I hate giving spoiler warnings at this point. They just happen. It's just a flow of conversation. So if you don't want to get spoiled, get out of here and come back. Saints Row 4 is so cool because you were like the president, and then like the world got like invaded by aliens, and then it was like a whole simulation, and like in like the one before that, it was like everything was just a movie and it was all just a joke, and it was like you were inside a movie the whole time. Like, just so dumb. I don't know about Johnny Get Out of Hell. I can't remember that one, but that one was another weird case. I don't think he was really even in hell. I can't even remember.
In Saints Row 4,
but it said it so far apart from GTA.
Played your role in stopping a nuclear attack on the United States by becoming the country's next president and then fighting off an alien invasion from a Matrix-inspired virtual reality. This new Saints Row steps back from those more fantastical sci-fi.
Literally, he just said it. See? I knew he was going to talk about it. That's how goofy it is. It's funny. You were literally in a Matrix.
And absurdist elements the series embraced, returning to the relatively more grounded storylines and gameplay seen in the first two Saints Row games. And unfortunately, that has seemingly translated into a by-the-numbers open-world crime game. Based on the presentation that I saw, it looks like Saints Row is just a series of loops. You go to your gang's hideout, figure out what you want to do next, jump in your car, drive to a point on your map, complete the mission, and then just return to base to pick.
Ouch. Bro, those 3 solid coughs came out of nowhere. Jesus. what he's saying right now, isn't that true for every single game though that does something like this? Technically every game is starting to loop. That's why I said they need to get more creative. They're all just go to your hideout, go capture this point, go kill some baddies over here, loop. If you like think about it too much, it's literally every single game.
Pick the next mission.
It's odd.
The world itself doesn't seem to react to you beyond, the cops attacking you if you draw too much heat. And
Okay, and that's actually a pretty bad thing if that's very, very true. I wasn't even looking for these things to break it down that much, because I went into looking at the new Saints Row game as literally just as, okay, it's probably a reskin, but at least it's fresh. And then that's how I looked at it. I don't really care about anything else. But that is a weird thing that they don't take from older games. It's like when I realized this when I watched that Left 4 Dead breakdown, which people wanted me to look at more breakdowns from the same person or other people who just show how game developers have gotten way more lazy. And it's crazy because like older games, it's like, it seems to me, I don't want to say this because I'm not a game developer, but if I was like the idea guy, it would not be that hard to make the world really interact with the character a lot more than it does. Like one thing I didn't like about Skyrim, but was still pretty cool, is when you were the Dragonborn, people acknowledged it for like 10 seconds. And it's like, it doesn't seem like such a hard thing to do, but if they want to get more unique, bring back that old style of actually like, I don't know. When I watched Deus Ex, that was actually pretty crazy too. Deus Ex had like damn near every decision you made. It almost seemed like everybody knew in like a certain type of way. Not like the newest Deus Ex where you did something and then you come to a character that really couldn't have known what you did, and they fucking know what you did.
the game features the same handful of missions that the Saints Row games have.
But you could literally probably slap Far Cry 9 on this and it would be the same thing.
Always had, like cause a certain amount of damage in a limited time, or fly to the bad guy's base and blow it up. Like, as you complete these tasks, you level up and you unlock new skills and you earn money to spend on more outfits and weapons, which you can then bring into more missions like the one you just completed, only harder. And you never actually need to understand the lay of the land or take note of the scenery because the world is one of destinations to go to and boxes to check. Combat seems like it could be pretty fun, as it mixes in unorthodox weapons alongside more traditional firearms. There's nothing quite as extravagant as what was seen in Saints Row the 3rd and Saints Row 4, but there are a few cool toys like a device that allows you to shoot through walls, and a football that latches onto enemies and sends them flying into the air. But I'm worried that combat could get stale after a while.
Probably.
I watched what combat looked like against both the Los Panteros and the Idols, and it seemed like the same run and gun strategy worked for both gangs, despite their members being quite visually different. And to my annoyance, it seems like your character has the unfortunate habit of repeating the same quips in combat over and over. While watching the presentation, there was a moment where the playable character would...
Without as many review videos that come out like this, dude is not wrong, but this could be said about so many games, which is crazy. So it's weird how they just keep getting it wrong.
Fighting the Los
It's not even wrong. It's just I don't know.
Panteros who had
It's like
just
being
stripped
lazy.
her car, and during that minute-long fight, she repeated how she was mad because she needed that car at least 3 times.
Damn.
To top it all off, Nina kept offering the same feedback during the fight several times too. It was like an unwanted throwback to the early 2010s when every action-adventure game did that. I'd forgive such a traditional gameplay loop and outdated features if Saints Row at least did something interesting with its mechanics or mission structure, but the game doesn't seem to substantially build upon any aspect of the series' formula. There are more guns to buy and types of perks to unlock, but combat is still primarily a third-person shooter against bullet-spongy enemies who just sort of rush you without a plan. There are absurd side missions dotting the map, but they all appear to center around blowing stuff up or shooting from the passenger seat of a car while an ally drives you around and talks to you about something. And the brand new means of...
That low-key makes me not want to play it. That's bad.
navigation, like
Let's all go back to Skyrim.
the wingsuit, aren't entirely novel, as they seem to play a lot like the superpowers in Saints Row 4. In the end, this is a game about steadily taking control of a city by increasing your influence throughout several districts, each of which is divided up at the start of the game by the other gangs. You know, just like pretty much every other.
That low-key does look like the reskin super jump when he just went back up vertically like that.
Other Saints Row game. If it wasn't for the graphics, this new Saints Row would seem like a game I had played almost 10 years ago. Now let me be clear, I don't think a new Saints Row has to be completely different from its predecessors
That's exactly
in
what I
order
said
for
in
the
my
series
videos.
to be relevant in 2022.
That's what
But
I
the
said.
lack of any sort of apparent evolution to the franchise's mechanics and gameplay, well, that
Prevalent.
leaves it looking dated. I think the game
yeah.
may struggle with its narrative tone as well. Volition is aiming for a story and gameplay that feels wackier than Saints Row 2, but less so than Saints Row the Third. The problem then becomes that the game is too playful for a compelling dramatization of 4 college-aged adults building a criminal empire, and at the same time it's so serious that it doesn't quite deliver enough laughs to be a comedy. If you're gonna do a story like that, think Fast and Furious movie, you gotta have compelling characters and relationships that are worth giving a damn about. And Saints Row's main cast has just not impressed me so far. Your new allies all seem to resemble previous Saint Row characters as well. Mina's brash attitude and quick temper is reminiscent of Shandi. Kevin's energetic hot-headedness and love of violence is a lot like Gat.
Like Gat,
and Eli's
yeah.
dry sarcasm and non-gang background and more supportive role within the team makes him just like Kinsey. My hope is that these early
Yeah.
comparisons are a
Oh,
means of
shit.
eventually subverting players' expectations.
Oh, that's a really, really good. That was really good. Damn, I could see that 100%.
Encouraging
Wow.
longtime Saints Row fans to embrace a brand new variation of the Saints with a comforting familiarity before then presenting the presumably welcome surprise of exploring how these Saints are refreshingly different. But there's really no way of knowing whether that's the case until the game actually comes out. So far, this feels like territory we've covered before. This new Saints Row seems to most differentiate itself with its setting. Santo Ileso is inspired by the southwestern United States, so there are still skyscrapers, but much of the architecture outside the core of the city is smaller and features more Mexican and Spanish-inspired designs. The area features locations that are noticeably less urban as well, with several districts located in the outskirts of a massive desert. And everything is a lot more vibrant with a brighter color palette of oranges, yellows, and reds. It's here in this new setting that Saints Row should show the most intriguing potential, the developers touching on a completely different culture, presenting the possibility for new types of stories, gang activities, musical expression, and player interaction to freshen up a nearly 2 decades old franchise. And though I haven't been convinced Volition has actually done that here, I can tell that a good deal of effort went into creating the set dressing for Saints Row's story. Regardless, in the end, it all ties back around to my initial thought of the game, that it looks okay. We'll know for sure soon enough, even after being delayed, but Saints Row is now scheduled
It
to
got
release
delayed.
later this year, launching for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4, and PC on August 23rd.
August 23rd. Guess we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with most of the stuff you said. But it's not just Saints Row. There's a lot of games falling under this curse now. Like, I'm pretty sure the newest Far Cry was like this too, right? I feel like it's such an easy fix, but then that's so, like, it sucks you don't want to say that because you don't really walk in the shoes of what it takes to put into a game. Though I've seen behind the scenes, though, because, you know, just being blessed enough to work with some developers and listen to what they say about their games and stuff, and it's, like, crazy to see that there's a lot of work that goes in, but there's a lot of... You just got, like, it's, like, weird. It's, like, just coming from what I've seen, it's, like... There's so much more you could say on how much work could be put into a game, but it's like, if you're really trying to have that game, then why not just put the effort forward? And it's like, you see with a lot of games now, they do reuse assets from their older games, which is okay. Like, Elden Ring damn near shook the entire it didn't shake the entire world. I don't know if it'll get Game of the Year, but Elden Ring used most of the assets from Dark Souls, the old Dark Souls, but still, it added features and did different stuff enough to like that you could never mount in Dark Souls. So like riding torrent was like crazy to me, or like how the map didn't really have direction, which is like the Dark Souls games, but there was still like you found your way around Dark Souls eventually, even if you didn't know how, but you didn't really have things pointing you to the next area. And same kind of with Elden Ring, it was way worse. Like they made it even harder to know how to get around. It's just kind of like you adventure around, but that's like the fun freedom of it. So it's like when you think about a game like Far Cry, Saints Row, Assassin's Creed, or those games where you do capture towers and stuff like that, I feel like if it's literally that basic, it's a super easy thing to change, but developers don't want to take the chance or something like that. I have no idea why. It's literally like, okay, if they're gonna have you go capture a tower, make each, say you have 16 towers to capture after, no, let's see, 30 in total captures for towers in an Assassin's Creed game. It could be even said for this gang outpost or whatever if we're talking Saints Row. Out of 15 of those 30, make 15 of the tower captures unique. So in a wacky game, like I still want to use Assassin's Creed as an example, but we'll say for Saints Row, if you're trying to keep that goofy feel, have side missions bring you into some of the captures. If you're aware of this, Far Cry and those games do this too. Like, I need this back, and you'll probably get it as like a side objective, but also while you're there, you capture this outpost that is now a base where you can fast travel to. So let's say 15 out of them, they have a side objective. You knock out some with a quest bringing you there, but then make unique events happen at 15 of those locations. Make maybe a side mission like that has 3 other parts that are actually uniquely written. Like Tiny Tina the Wonderlands had a little bit of cool side missions, cool kind of side stories that go on, but it's almost like that. Take writing or inspiration from other games to make like stupid little side story things that are like funny and goofy while you're taking these outposts. Or literally, like I just found myself literally in Saints Row 4, I remember just capturing those things, like those towers and the whatever the fuck they were. I can't remember specifically, but Far Cry is the easiest one to reference because they're just called outposts. Or like how in Assassin's Creed you climb up to the highest peaks and each one was like a different climbing challenge. It's like there are people they have on the ideas or not spitting ideas and not being afraid to have ideas turned down or not like really push ideas. It's weird to me. Because if you're going to make fetch quests or things like that in a game, bro, make them interesting, bro. Or it really does just loop. Or even for combat, that's kind of a little bit sad to hear that each different group didn't have their own little quirk. I'm trying to think of what game was like that. Were the old Saints Rows like that? I feel like there was a game I played where you went to go against a certain group of people and they had a certain thing to each group. Like, say if I'm making my own game and there's 3 different groups that you'll be fighting in the game, it's like the combat you come across will probably be a little bit similar to each group, but say one group is using like fucking plasma rifles, so you can't really fight them at a distance or something like that. You gotta get closer. Or one group has snipers, there was that too. Like each group has a certain enforcer that has to be beaten in a unique way. So it's like keeps it unique. It's like there's such slight changes, but the small things will impact the bigger one overall. So yeah, I don't know. Saints Row, yeah, this is what I've been saying in my older videos. When I got recommended to check it out, it looks okay. It doesn't look too crazy. It just looks like reskin. But I don't think that's bad. But, alright, much love and moonlight, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.